Hello, it's John Heaton, and this evening I'm going to review this 1971 album from the Beach Boys, Surf's Up, which I was very pleased to pick up on vinyl for the first time a couple of months ago at the Record and Tape Exchange in Notting Hill Gate, London, an old favourite record shop haunt of mine. This is quite an interesting cover, not a very interesting back cover. And I would say this is easily in the top 5 or top 3 or 4 probably Beach Boys albums for me. I found their early albums a bit inconsistent, and after Pet Sounds, the late 60s albums were pretty good, Friends and 2020, and then this one was great, and then after that they didn't do much for me. I was wondering how many people are out there who actually would defend the whole catalogue of the Beach Boys, because I find it hard. They did put out a lot of albums, and a lot of them were not great, with Brian Wilson taking less and less of an interest after this album, really, less and less. Anyway, I know Elton John is on record saying he loves albums like Holland and stuff, and Carl and the Passions, but this one is, to me, head and shoulders above most of the others. Not very good back cover, is it? But I was very pleased to see the insert, the lyrics, because I always get that with second-hand records, and pictures of the band. So the normal lineup here, and well, straight off the bat, Brian's tracks are the best, but the other members put in some decent efforts. So released August the 30th, 71, recorded over a period of 4.5 years, from November 66 to July 71, because there's at least one track which is a leftover from the aborted Smile album. 33, nearly 34 minutes long, so not about average length, I guess. Anyway, I won't talk about the reviews. I think it was fairly well received. But I will just go into the tracks. Don't Go Near the Water opens the album, and it's written by Alan Jardine, who writes a couple of songs on the album, actually. 2, 3. And it's not a bad opener, but it's a little weak as an opener. Not much to say. This album is even though it's one of their best, it's still uneven. Next track, Long Promise Road, is quite pleasant, written by Carl Wilson and Jack Riley. Take a Load of Your Feet is a pleasant song by Alan Jardine. And then we get the first A-rated song for me, Disney Girls, written by Bruce Johnston, who I saw in concert with Mike Love when the Beach Boys came to Budapest 3 or 4 years ago. This is a great song, Disney Girls brackets 1957. And Art Garfunkel covered this song very successfully on his Breakaway album 1975. So I don't think Bruce has written too many more songs for the Beach Boys, but I think this is about his best one. And he played it in concert because we held up a placard requesting it. And then side 1 ends with one of the worst tracks from anyone, really, Student Demonstration Time, based on an old rock and roll song called Riot in Cell Block Number 9 by Jerry Leiber and Mike Stroller. New lyrics by Mike Love. I mean, I know revolution was in the air and the students were demonstrating, and, you know, there was all that stuff in California, and some students got shot, and the Paris riots of 68. So it's topical in that respect, but it really is a lousy song and with quite annoying words. Most pop singers struggle to write protest songs. Some succeed more successfully than others. In the case of the Beach Boys, or in the case of Mike Love, this one fails dismally, I'm afraid. And side 2 opens with a Carl Wilson, Jack Riley number, and the second one by those two, Field Flows, which is quite pleasant, nothing special. Looking at Tomorrow, a Welfare Song is a nice acoustic guitar number written by Alan Jardine. And then we have the real highlights of the album, apart from Disney Girls on side 1, the best 3 tracks. Well, along with that track, the best 4 tracks are Disney Girls on side 1 and the last 3 tracks on side 2. And it's no coincidence that Brian Wilson co-wrote all 3 tracks, or actually solo wrote Till I Die. So it starts off with Day in the Life of a Tree. It's a very interesting concept about, actually it's a bit ahead of its time really, because it was before environmentalism became trendy. And he's basically saying, I'm dying, and I'm getting killed. My sap was rich and I was strong. From seed to tree I grew so tall. Through wind and rain I could not fall, but now my branches suffer and my leaves don't offer poetry to men of song. Trees like me weren't meant to live, if all this world can give is pollution and slow death. It's a successful lyric, and I like the sentiment of the song, and I like the melody. It's pretty decent. And then the next track's even better, and this is just an all-time classic by not only by the Beach Boys, but by anyone. One of the best songs ever written, no less. Till I Die. Beautiful words from Brian Wilson, beautiful harmonies from, I presume it's Brian with Carl and Alan, Bruce. I'm a cork in the ocean floating over the raging sea. How deep is the ocean? I'm a rock in a landslide rolling over the mountainside. How deep is the valley? I'm a leaf on a windy day. Pretty soon I'll be blown away. How long will the wind blow? Until I die. These things are me until I die. And Mike Love comes up with that Till I Die vocal at the end. It's a very successful song and just beautiful. Be a good song to play at someone's funeral, I suppose. I suppose it has been played over the years. And then the album closes with the stupendous Surf's Up from the Smile album, which, as we all know, didn't see the light of day. But this one, if the album was as good as this song, it would have been every bit as good as Pet Sounds. But Brian had a confidence crisis and took too many drugs, and it was left on the shelf for many years, and then they tried to resurrect it, but time had moved on. So it would have been nice if this album had been released at the time. Just lovely words. I think it's co-written, Van Dyke Parks with Brian Wilson. A diamond necklace played the pawn, hand in hand some drummed along to a handsome man and batten a blind class aristocracy. Back through the opera glass you see the pit and the pendulum drawn, columnated ruins domino, canvas the town and brush the backdrop. Are you sleeping? Dreamy lyrics, dreamy melody. I think only Brian Wilson could come up with a track like this. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's disjointed in that it's a kind of medley of 2 or 3 snippets put together, but it works. It's a masterpiece, and this album is worth the admission price alone for Surf's Up, Until I Die, those last 2 tracks. And some of the other tracks are inoffensive. As I say, the only one stinker really on the album, Student Demonstration Time. But worth picking up for the highlights. Thank you for watching. See you next time.